Top 15 YouTubers who might be in the Illuminati. Number 15, MattCMG. MattCMG is a YouTuber who makes videos about internet culture and animation, but it seems awfully strange that a channel with so little focus can amount 20,000 subscribers. If you look closely at his subscribe button, you can see what appears to be a bear creature running towards the screen. I do not know if this is real or just CGI, but if it is real, then this is definitely the work of some kind of Illuminati programming, or possibly a portal to another dimension. I do not know if this MattCMG guy is really in the Illuminati or not, but if there's one thing that's true, it's that he is definitely one of the best YouTubers alive, and you should subscribe to him right now. Hey everybody, welcome back to another brand spanking new episode of Internet Idiocracy, the show where we make fun of the simple-minded shit from all corners of the internet. I'm your host with the most, the slipperiest schmuck of all, MattCMG, and today, let's talk about conspiracy theories. Now, I don't know if you guys know this about me or not. I may have mentioned it before on stream at twitch.tv/MattCMGYT, but I really enjoy conspiracy theories. Whether they're trying to dismantle the establishment, prove the existence of something paranormal, or attempt to validate some truly insane things about our world and about our society, I think that all conspiracy theories, even the ones that are completely unhinged and baseless, are entertaining at the very least. Like, I genuinely believe that there is some sort of conspiracy surrounding 9/11. Like, I genuinely think that there's a lot of information that they aren't telling us, and I think it's fun to go look through all of the evidence of it and go back and forth between what is and isn't true. But at the same time, I absolutely love looking at the dumbest conspiracy theories imaginable, the ones that have zero bearing on reality, and laughing at them. For every valid conspiracy theory out there that has a ton of valid evidence and would truly change the world if proven to be true, there are hundreds, if not thousands, of conspiracy theories that are completely crazy that no sane person would actually believe. So, in today's special Halloween edition of Internet Idiocracy, I wanted to take a look at some of the craziest conspiracy theories out there that people actually believe. And in true II fashion, we're gonna make fun of them. Why is this the Halloween episode, you ask? I don't know, conspiracy theories are kinda spooky. I don't know, if you wanted a real Halloween video, go watch my last one, fuck you. But with all that said, grab your tinfoil hats, let's get weird, let's get wild, and let's get spooked as we take a look at some conspiracy theories.
The earth is flat, the earth is flat. People around the globe know the earth is flat.
I can't wear this for the whole video. Fuck. It's gonna fucking destroy the lighting, it's gonna fuck my shit up. To start us off and to kind of ease us into things today, let's look at a conspiracy theory that I'm sure everyone is at least somewhat familiar with, the flat earth conspiracy. As the name suggests, the flat earth theory is the theory that the earth is not a globe like is taught in schools, but rather a flat disc. Flat earthers think that the government knows that the earth is flat and is hiding it from everybody by systematically lying to us and conditioning us as young children to think that the earth is a sphere. Now you might be thinking, why would the government lie to me? And according to flat earthers, the answer is just because they can. If they can lie to you about the shape of the planet you live on, then they can lie to you about pretty much anything. I think humans might be evolving backwards because we went from the ancients believing that the earth was flat for thousands of years. And then we meet our boy Pythagoras, you know, that guy with the theorem about the triangle who popularized the idea that the earth was spherical, which was later proven to be correct and was an accepted scientific fact for hundreds, if not thousands of years, and is still an accepted scientific fact to this day. But now we've regressed back to people thinking that the earth is flat. Much like the cycle of the seasons, the cycle of average human intelligence must begin anew, I guess. The flat earth theory has gotten so popular in recent years, so out of hand, that we've got mainstream celebrities like B.O.B., Kyrie Irving, and Tila Tequila unironically endorsing flat earth. Granted, Tila Tequila is dumb enough that she'll probably believe anything. You could tell her that her fucking skin was on fire right fucking now and she would probably believe you. But come on, B.O.B.? B.O.B. literally had a song about traveling the world, and you'd think that with that amount of flying around on airplanes that he'd see the curvature of the earth or something, but no, flat earther. Speaking of the curvature of the earth, that is a big point of contention for flat earthers. Despite the fact that you can literally see the curvature of the earth with the naked eye on land or in airplanes, the these people still don't believe that the Earth is round. They think that the horizon that you see when you look out into the ocean is actually either a giant ice wall or that the airplane windows are actually designed to distort the image and make it look like it's curved. I've even seen people think that when you go to the end of the Earth, you get teleported back to the other end like it's a fucking Pac-Man level. This is actual insanity. Their lack of knowledge of science, physics especially, is laughable since they constantly misinterpret scientific principles that we know to be true and misuse the equations that exist to quantify said principles, whether that be intentionally or not. And the curvature of the Earth isn't even scratching the surface. The flat Earth rabbit hole goes super deep, and I cannot feasibly talk about everything regarding it in this video, but it's just absolutely amazing how so much of what flat earthers believe is so easily disproved by a basic understanding of physics. Hell, flat earthers are so dumb and they misunderstand science so badly that they've accidentally disproven themselves with multiple experiments that were performed with the intent of proving that the Earth is flat, proving that the Earth is in fact a sphere. It's insane. It's actually wild. The reason I bring up flat Earth as our first example today is because I think it is a perfect case study in how modern day conspiracy theories work and why that's not exactly ideal. The way we come up with theories in science is through the scientific method. You know, you ask a question, you form a hypothesis, you run a test or experiment to test said hypothesis, and you make a conclusion based on your results. That's how science is done on the most basic of levels. They teach you this in fucking grade school. I learned this as a fucking fetus. The way we discover that the Earth is round is that we used the scientific method. We ask, what shape is the Earth? We made hypotheses, we set up experiments to find out which shape it actually was, and based off the results of those experiments, we determined which hypotheses were right and which were wrong. What a flat earther does, and what most conspiracy theorists in general do, is that they start at the end. They've already concluded that the Earth is flat in their mind, and so every experiment they perform to try to prove this is immediately invalidated by confirmation bias. They already know what they're looking for, so anything that doesn't fit what they were looking for doesn't count to them. They refuse to believe it because it doesn't confirm what they already believe. At the end of the day, flat earthers know nothing about science and therefore should not be taken seriously in any intellectual capacity.
Most people don't see that reptoid bump come up on the first viewing, and that's exactly what they want.
When it comes to crazy conspiracy theories, the reptilian theory is typically at the top of that list. This theory posits that the world is secretly being run by a race of shape-shifting lizard people who have disguised themselves as humans in order to obtain great political power. This race of lizard people go by many names, like the Anunnaki, the Saurians, the Draconians, and my personal favorite, the Reptoids. Something about Reptoids just really tickles my titties. These reptilians have taken positions that include, but are not limited, to presidents, prime ministers, royalty, and any other high-ranking government officials. If you're thinking to yourself right now, man, that sounds absolutely fucking insane and only crazy people would believe this, then you would be absolutely correct to think that. It's pretty fucking clear to anybody that reptoids do not exist. But if they do, then they're doing a pretty fucking good job at hiding it, I'll give them that. There is some supposed evidence for this theory, but it's so fucking flimsy that it's genuinely comical. 99% of evidence for reptilians are photoshopped pictures, stories with no basis in reality or in history, and my personal favorite, shitty low-quality videos. Let's take a look at one. What's brackin', homies? So the video in question that we're gonna be looking at today is titled Obama's Reptilian Secret Service Spotted APEC Conference 3 Angles, and in parentheses, HD. This is HD quality, guys. Let's take a look at this. My fellow Americans.
Barack Obama's.
I can't take this shit seriously when it's got a fucking robot voice on it. Fucking Microsoft Sam telling me about the fucking reptoids.
Could be a strong evidence of a shapeshifter alien humanoid working for the powers that be.
Saying those words out loud unironically is just... it's a whole new level of what the fuck. Like,
In a high-definition video during an event of the Zionist cabal.
the Zionist cabal. We're getting to that anti-Semitic point of no return on that little chart there. You know the one I'm talking about. Fuck you. You watch TikTok, you cretin. My fellow Americans, I have AIDS. Oh, we got a guy in the bottom. He's looking around. He's doing his job because he's the Secret Service. Oh, this is where we start to get into the part where they start invalidating themselves because they take an actual high quality video, like a 720p video. I think 720 was the standard when this was uploaded, like 2013ish. So when you take this, this HD quality video, and then you zoom into a part of it that's not only is it not well lit, but you're zooming into it, so you're losing quality. Everything's gonna look distorted no matter what it is that's there. But anyway, let's humor him.
Behavior and creepy movements.
Odd behavior and creepy movements. Motherfucker, he's the Secret Service. He's doing his fucking job. He's being fucking vigilant. Bro, he looks like he's got a fucking jawline. What's so bad about the guy having a jawline? Like, come on. Got pointy little elf ears.
Disregard all the distortions and image artifacts caused by post-edition zooming.
There's no fucking way. You just said that. Oh my fucking god. The lack of self-awareness here is fucking staggering.
His nose, his chin, cheekbone, jaw and mouth are no longer looking human at all.
Motherfucker, that's because you zoomed in like 300% and you just admitted that everything's gonna look fucking distorted. Those are like the pixels bleeding together on his fucking scalp.
Matter of fact, now he has a blatant non-human face.
Yeah, such a blatant non-human face with his eyes, nose, and mouth. What the fuck is this bullshit?
Is he a tall grey bio-android, or what?
An android? Bro, Dr. Giroux's been busy. This guy just showed me a distorted video of a bald man with a pretty fucking decent jawline and said, that's a fucking reptoid. Holy shit. Anyways, back to the lab again. And this isn't the only one of these videos either. They're kind of hard to find nowadays because YouTube fucked with the algorithm, so you don't see conspiracy videos anymore. You gotta really like dig for them these days. But the ones that you can find are usually people recording their TVs with their phone, which decreases the video quality by a significant amount already. And then the evidence itself is some artifacting from either their shitty TV or a problem with the broadcast itself. You know, it's more confirmation bias. You go looking for some reptilians, you'll find them in anything, and that includes some dead pixels. I think it's pretty safe to say that no, the world is not being controlled by a race of literal lizard people. The fact that conspiracy theorists like David Icke can take an idea that's not all that far-fetched, like a giant shadow government running the world, but then stretch that to insane degrees with fucking spiritual energies and reptoid people, it's genuine lunacy. If you unironically believe in reptoids, genuinely seek help. Dude, I will say though, if reptoids are real, they are a Scaly's wet fucking dream, I tell you what. Of course, this wouldn't be a conspiracy video if we didn't talk about aliens. There are plenty of conspiracy theories based around aliens, UFOs, Area 51, and the like. And rightfully so, because that shit is really fucking cool. You know, you've got your crash at Roswell, your UFO sightings across the world, people like Bob Lazar, shows like Ancient Aliens, even the failed Area 51 raid of 2019, all kinds of stuff. The idea of aliens existing or even living among us has completely infiltrated pop culture to where it's almost become mainstream to believe that aliens exist. This is further corroborated by the fact that life does actually exist on other planets, such as bacteria on Mars, or things like the Fermi paradox and the Drake equation that exist purely to prove that intelligent extraterrestrial life very well might exist out there in the universe. I, for one, 100% wholeheartedly believe that there is intelligent life out there in the universe somewhere. Aliens definitely exist if you ask me, but whether or not we've made contact with them is completely up for debate and happens to be the source of many alien-centric conspiracy theories.
Yo, fuck nuts! It's probing time.
One of the main alien conspiracies out there is in regards to UFOs. As the theory goes, world governments have known for decades of the existence of alien spacecraft visiting Earth and have been purposefully suppressing that information so that the public doesn't find out, despite the fact that thousands of people across the world have seen a UFO or have reported to have seen a UFO. Recently, the US government released 3 pieces of footage that supposedly show these UFOs and confirming that they did, at one point, track and study these things. And everyone went crazy about it despite the fact that this same footage was released like 3 years earlier, but whatever. I guess not everybody can stay on top of this shit. Government officials from other countries like Canada have also come out and confirmed that they have also been monitoring the UFO phenomena and that they have been much more transparent about it than the US has. Granted, more transparent than the US is still pretty fucking opaque, I'll tell you what. That's all fine and dandy. However, there's a big distinction that many people refuse to make, and it's that UFO doesn't exactly mean alien. UFO stands for unidentified flying object, and nothing about that definition has anything to do with aliens. All UFO means is that you saw a flying object that you could not identify. If somebody throws a fucking 18-inch dragon dildo in the air, but you can't tell what it is, then you just technically saw a UFO. The only reason people associate UFOs with aliens is that pop culture did it first, so now we kind of just accept it blindly. So when the government says, we've been monitoring UFOs, that doesn't necessarily mean that they're confirming the existence of ALMAOs. That's why the government has actually switched to calling them UAPs, which stands for Unidentified Aerial Phenomena, instead of UFO, so as to not make people think that they're saying aliens are real. In fact, the alien conspiracy theories might have a point, since the government has never made any actual official statements regarding aliens, and they often dodge that question when it's brought up. So there very well could be something that they aren't telling us, which I've been inclined to agree, They just aren't ready to disclose it yet. Speaking of which, alien disclosure is a movement started by some of these alien conspiracy theorists with the intent of getting the government to fully disclose all information that they have about aliens. This kind of thing would not happen overnight. You know, the government would have to drip feed us this information, since if they suddenly just disclosed everything about aliens at once and confirmed that aliens are real and that they've known about it for years, everybody would freak the fuck out. The idea is to ease people into believing the idea that aliens are real, you know, boiling the frog, if you will. And many alien conspiracy theorists believe that the government has already been doing this, though that's a theory we'll get into a little bit later in this video. We've actually already started to see this a little bit with the aforementioned UFO videos that the Pentagon released, but remember, UFO doesn't necessarily mean alien. However, these are some of the more tame alien conspiracies, as these things can get pretty wacky. For example, take the Ancient Aliens theory, a theory so popular that they made 15 seasons out of it. In case you're unfamiliar, the Ancient Aliens theory is the theory that aliens have actually been around for a very long time, and that they actually helped ancient humans begin civilization by giving us tools and technology that we otherwise would not have figured out ourselves with our tiny little ape brains. You know, some aliens built the pyramids type shit. This theory also posits that the aliens were seen as gods by the ancient people who depicted them in different hieroglyphics, art pieces, and scriptures. Much of the evidence for this theory comes from various places around the world, like the Nazca Lines in Peru, the Easter Island heads, Stonehenge, you know, stuff like that. Stuff that doesn't seem possible with the technology that would have existed around the time that they were built. The problem with this theory is that it jumps the gun pretty fucking hard. Like, these conspiracy theorists were so baffled by the idea of ancient people doing this stuff on their own without modern technology that they had to create a theory about aliens coming down and doing it for them because they were so goddamn stupid. Well, guess what, amigo? Ancient people were pretty fucking smart, and it's been proven multiple times through practical experiments that the ancient people more than likely could have done this shit on their own. Ancient humans weren't that fucking dumb. I don't want to jump the gun myself here and pull a Quentin Reviews and claim that this theory is like inherently racist or anything, but there does seem to be an awful lot of denial that brown people could have done these things. You know what I'm saying? Cringe. So to close this section out, the problem with alien, UFO, and Area 51 related conspiracy theories is that most of them are based on stories and conjecture with no tangible evidence to support them, and then when tangible evidence does exist, it's quickly disproven. Whenever I think of alien theories, I always think back to an episode of Joe Rogan Questions Everything, where Joe, have you ever done DMT Rogan, went to talk to a guy who promised him proof of aliens, but all the guy did was tell him stories about aliens with no hard proof.
All I'm hearing is there's a guy who says this, and then he says that, and he says he did this. This is not evidence. This is a story. What would be the best piece of evidence that you could offer?
So here's a guy.
I gotta stop.
Okay,
I asked you for evidence.
This is evidence.
A guy saying something is not real evidence.
Sure it is.
No, it's not. You're telling me stories.
I'm telling you
Stories suck. They're great for campfires, but as far as evidence, they're not real.
A lot of the proof that believers in aliens bring up as hard evidence are either stories or eyewitness accounts, which are two of the most unreliable forms of evidence there is, or these grainy pictures and videos where you can't make anything out. Again, it's more confirmation bias, where a lot of these people already believe in aliens, so they'll grasp onto anything that even comes close to hard proof, no matter how flimsy that evidence actually is. I mean, sure, that video you took in the night sky might be an alien spacecraft, but it also might just be a satellite. Or an 18-inch dragon dildo.
Percocet, yeah. Miley Percocet, Percocet, yeah.
Alright boys, take your spooky meters and go, yep. That was fucking cringe, I'm sorry. Have you ever seen something on the news that looks, you know, vaguely familiar? Like, you know you haven't seen it before, but you're still getting that sense of deja vu? Like you were already mentally prepared for this event? Well, it's possible that you were a victim of predictive programming. The predictive programming theory is a conspiracy theory that suggests that the media that we consume is subliminally conditioning us into believing certain events. The idea is that Hollywood movie and TV producers are all working for or are influenced by the government to include these little hints as to what is going to happen in the future so that the general public will be more accepting and more comfortable with these events when they do end up happening. This theory usually goes hand in hand with another theory that suggests that every major world event is a hoax or a government psyop used to easily control the population, but that's beside the point. That level of lunacy is beyond the scope of this video. Now, you may have actually been fooled into believing this theory at one point, even if you didn't know it. A prominent example of it that I've seen a lot is that The Simpsons predicted a very specific video of Donald Trump walking down a flight of stairs or an escalator or whatever, down to the tiniest of details. Many people point to this as a prime example of predictive programming in the media, but what many people don't realize and completely invalidates this as a piece of evidence is that this episode was made after this footage was released, not before. This example is predicated on the idea that The Simpsons did it first, which is 100% false in this particular instance. I think this example is definitely worth bringing up because it proves how easily people can be fooled into believing things without actually fact-checking them. However, that alone is not enough to completely invalidate the entire theory. A lot of examples of predictive programming come in the form of 9/11. We'll use that as an example, where the media supposedly gave us hints of the attacks years before they happened, and these range from extremely vague to weirdly specific. There was a 1997 episode of The Simpsons that shows Bart holding a poster with the 9 and the Twin Towers making an 11. There's a Looney Tunes short where this dog character is freaking about towers collapsing. There's a 1994 episode of an Iron Man cartoon where terrorists literally attack the Twin Towers and then crash a plane into the Pentagon. Holy shit, that one's a little bit on the fucking nose. I'm not laughing at 9/11, by the way. I'm laughing at how weirdly accurate this is.
9/11.
Of course, those aren't the only examples of predictive programming for 9/11, or in general, as there are tons of examples of this stuff that I literally do not have the time to touch on all of it. There are two major problems with the predictive programming theory. The first is that it implies that the real world can't take influence from the media. You know, life imitates art, as it were. Going back to the 9/11 example, that Iron Man cartoon or other pieces of media that show an attack on the World Trade Center might have been what influenced the actual events. You know, if a terrorist saw an episode of Iron Man where they crash a plane into the Pentagon, they might think, hey, let's crash a plane into the Pentagon. Even if that isn't the case, the reason the Twin Towers were the target of the attacks was because they were the two tallest and most iconic buildings in the United States at the time, and it's because of their iconic status that they were glorified in different media over the years. This kind of thing applies to almost all examples of predictive programming, where some things happen specifically because of their prevalence in the media. If the Twin Towers were a symbol of America in the media, then people who wanted to attack America would attack that symbol. Man, the more I hear about this 9/11 guy, the more I really don't like him. Reminds me of that hacker known as 4chan, what the fuck. The second problem with predictive programming is that a good 99% of it can be easily explained by coincidences, which makes it a bit of a stretch to link a piece of media to a real-life event. For example, a conspiracy theorist might look at movies like Contagion or TV episodes that deal with diseases like the Boondocks episode, The Fried Chicken Flu, and try to use those as examples of predictive programming in regards to the COVID-19 pandemic. While there might be similarities between the media and real life, those similarities are entirely coincidental and are easily explained. In this particular example, each of these things are in regards to pandemics, and no matter what kind of story you're telling, when it's about a pandemic, there are gonna be constants in your story. In a movie like Contagion, the characters wear masks to prevent the spread of disease, but they aren't doing this to condition us 10 years beforehand. It's because that's literally how pandemics work and how they have always worked. Like, do y'all think that masks are like a new thing or something? It's always been standard procedure, dumbass. In this example, the coincidence is in the realism, with Contagion being a very realistic movie already, but in other examples, the coincidences are simply too vague to be considered evidence. You know, you could find a plane crash scene in any old cartoon or TV show or movie or what have you and say, hey, this predicted Kobe Bryant's death, when the only thing that those events have in common is a helicopter crash, which is a pretty common occurrence, all things considered. Coincidences are especially true with many of the Simpsons examples, where if you've been on the air making pop culture references for 30 years, you're bound to get a few things right just by the sheer number of it. At the end of the day though, predictive programming is a very fun conspiracy that doesn't have all that much weight behind it. While it's true that the media and the government are closer to each other than my mental state is to deteriorating, and that there are a lot of times where news outlets will try to slowly condition people into believing things, the idea that they're hinting at things like this in every piece of entertainment is a bit of a stretch and is kinda dumb. For example, if you look at any mainstream news outlet, there are a metric fuck ton of articles that praise the health benefits of eating bugs, which definitely makes it seem like somebody out there is trying to warm us up to the idea of eating bugs, which I can assure you I will not be partaking in. That's an example of this kind of conditioning in action. In this context, it is completely real and makes some semblance of sense. Media manipulation is 100% real, it's just the extent to which it exists that's the problem with this theory. What doesn't make sense is something like the government going to Seth MacFarlane or something and saying, hey, how you doing, Seth MacFarlane? Hey, listen, we're planning this fake terrorist attack for next year. It's gonna be a big deal. So I kind of want you to, put a hint, a very vague hint about it in the background of one of your cartoons. It doesn't have to be anything major, just like, a very vague set of numbers or something like that. Hey, I know, I don't really give a fuck what you do, just so people know that it's coming if they look really fucking hard. Yeah, okay, thanks, bye. Which at that point, it just kind of defeats the purpose of faking an event like that. Predictive programming in the context of entertainment showing us future events is not real, as it can be easily explained by pareidolia, where our human brains constantly look for patterns, which can result in us seeing patterns that aren't actually there. This also goes back to confirmation bias. If you go out looking for things that supposedly predicted some event, then you're gonna find things that seem to do so, even if they don't. Now, if any of our Cabal Shadowmaster overlords are watching this video, could somebody put MattCMG 1 million subscribers in the background of a Cartoon Network show or something? I could use the boost right about now. I'll pay you my fucking eternal soul. Thanks, homies.
Lil Wayne and the government's corrupt. Fuck the government, cause I don't give a fuck.
Now, one conspiracy theory that I actually used to believe when I was a young brainlet was the FEMA camps conspiracy theory. The theory that the US government is slowly setting up concentration or death camps on US soil to use for nefarious purposes regarding a New World Order or population control, or some combination of the two. As far as my limited knowledge of this theory goes, it's been around for a while, but there wasn't really any evidence for it until around 2015-ish, as far as my knowledge goes, because again, remember, I have small brain. I'm actually quite big brain, I'm a scientist, but whatever. Back in 2015, there were 5 Walmart stores across the country that all closed down at the exact same time. The official reason given was to fix plumbing issues, however, this did not line up with what happened afterwards, with the entire stores being emptied out, military equipment being shipped there, and the great lengths that law enforcement was forced to go to prevent people from looking inside. The time of these Walmart closures seemed to line up almost perfectly with Jade Helm 15, a military training exercise designed to train personnel to move through civilian areas undetected. Many people combined this training exercise with the Walmart closures and came to the conclusion that the military was training its soldiers on how to impose martial law on the American people. This ended up bleeding into 2016 and 2017 with similar military training exercises going on in those years as well, seemingly in preparation for massive loss of life. I actually used to partially believe this theory when I was a kid, but looking back on it, it really makes no sense and it can be easily explained by, yet again, coincidence. For example, it does seem suspicious that 3 of the 5 Walmarts that closed down were right in the range of where they were doing this training exercise. However, that particular exercise didn't have anything to do with retail stores, since the specifics of that operation involved troops moving into small towns, not the cities where the Walmarts were located. It may have seemed sus that they'd have to empty out the entire building in order to fix a plumbing issue, but that may have just been done to protect the products in case repairs went wrong or for better access to the plumbing system itself. Many of the claims that military personnel were using these Walmarts are completely unsubstantiated, and the general idea of big stores like Walmart having large amounts of plastic coffins on hand can be easily explained by stores being alternative care sites in the event of a disaster. Jade Helm 15, UX 16, and Operation Gotham Shield in 2017 were simply training exercises in preparation for possible disaster scenarios. Just because you prepare for a situation doesn't mean that you know that that thing is coming or that you have advanced knowledge of that thing coming. You know, I could prepare for a zombie apocalypse right now, but I know for a fact that's not gonna fucking happen. No, I noticed this video wasn't spooky enough. I had to throw the zomboys in there. The FEMA camp conspiracy theory is one that refuses to give anybody the benefit of the doubt, and that could be easily explained by simple coincidence. The military's doing a training exercise. Must mean they're preparing for martial law. Like, what? You know, I'm not exactly a trust the government type of guy. You know, I don't trust them on fucking half the shit they say. Probably more than half the shit they say. But this is an instance where you gotta give them the benefit of the doubt. The entire death camp theory in general is really fucky to begin with, since what reason would the government have to kill its own citizens? You're not gonna get control, you're gonna get revolt, you dense motherfucker. This is a theory that is ultimately based entirely on paranoia and the deep-seated desire to not be controlled. I'm really not gonna bother humoring it any longer. After all that we've looked at today, there are a few commonalities between most conspiracy theories, and we can make a few major conclusions. 1. Most conspiracy theories are fueled by confirmation bias. Obviously, I've mentioned it a few times throughout this video, but if you start investigating something with your intended conclusion already in mind, then your evidence will be inherently biased, since you will disregard anything that doesn't prove what you're looking for. You know, if you think ghosts are real, and you go out trying to prove that ghosts are real, then you're going to disregard any evidence that doesn't prove ghosts are real, which is entirely biased and is not how science is done. 2. Many conspiracy theorists refuse to believe in coincidences. Sure, there are some coincidences that are way too convenient to ignore, such as everything regarding Epstein, for example, but a lot of them are complete reaches or are completely coincidental. For instance, it may seem suspicious that COVID started spreading when 5G towers started popping up, but based on what we know about science, that is 100% a coincidence. Correlation does not equal causation. To a conspiracy theorist, there is no such thing as a random occurrence, no such thing as chance. Everything is completely connected and meticulously crafted and planned by some shadow society. While it's true that there are real conspiracy theories, not everything is a conspiracy theory. Sometimes it's just a coincidence. 3. Conspiracy research is extremely inconsistent. Aside from the confirmation bias stuff we looked at earlier, a lot of conspiracy theory research is unreliable in the sense that their sources are either these random sites from 2012, 4chan and Reddit threads, and sometimes there just is no source at all. Sources. Dude, trust me. The way conspiracy theorists get around not having accurate sources is by saying something that's objectively true to kind of rake people in, and then they layer that with layers and layers of bullshit. There's a bit of truth in every conspiracy theory, but when you mix tons of bullshit in with actual facts, it becomes very easy to get the two conflated. In other cases, it's extremely difficult or even impossible to find the original source on a certain piece of information, which creates this kind of big game of telephone in the conspiracy community where you read one thing in one place, but you can't find the original source of that information, so you can't check if that source was even reliable or not, and most people don't even go that far. Most people don't even bother to fact check in the first place. But above all of that, conspiracy theories are extremely addictive and potentially dangerous. That is to say, when you're looking into a conspiracy theory and you start believing it, it literally fucks with your brain chemistry and makes you hungry for more conspiracy theories, and the more you look into, the worse it gets. To the point where you start seeing conspiracies in literally everything. You know, there's a reason why when you watch like a Chills video or a BuzzFeed Unsolved video or any kind of mystery video, you end up watching like 10 of them because they're so addictive, because they kind of get your brain going with, you know, kind of the detective mindset, and you get addicted to the idea of finding new information and tying everything together into one story. This is the same kind of deal with conspiracy theory videos. When you get to the point where you're seeing conspiracies in literally everything, you don't see the world for what it is anymore. You don't have a normal worldview anymore. But hardcore conspiracy theorists don't even realize this because of the way it fucks with their brain makes them think that everyone else is the sheep. You know, that they're the special chosen one who sees the truth and nobody else. These people are addicted to finding connections to things that might not even be connected in the first place. You know, they think that they are Neo from the Matrix, you know what I'm saying? Now that's a dangerous mindset on its own, but what's even more dangerous is what these conspiracy theories can lead people to do. Crazy conspiratorial thoughts are one thing, but when you act on those conspiratorial thoughts, things could get fucky. For example, when Alex Jones peddled the conspiracy theory that Sandy Hook was a hoax and that all these people were crisis actors and that no kids actually died, the people who believed him sent those families death threats and other various fucked shit. A baseless conspiracy theory drove these people to harass and delegitimize the families of these victims, which is incredibly fucked up.
I'm gonna be honest with you. I'm kind of retarded.
However, one bad thing about conspiracy theories that I don't think gets enough credit is how the crazy and insane ones give conspiracy theories in general a bad stigma, leading to legitimate conspiracy theories with valid evidence being completely dismissed on the basis of them being conspiracy theories. For example, look at the conspiracy theory that the wealthy elites are secretly running an underground child ring. Everybody dismissed it and said it was crazy and bullshit, but then Epstein happened and now everybody believes it. Listen man, all I'm saying is that everyone was real fucking quick to dismiss Pizzagate when some psycho stormed in there with a gun to free the kids or whatever, but ever since Epstein, y'all have really jumped on the fucking bandwagon, huh? There are a ton of very real conspiracy theories out there that we know for a fact are true, like MK Ultra, Operation Northwoods, Big Pharma, etc. But it's the crazy ones like the Reptilians and the Flat Earth and the Saturn cubes, holy fuck did I mention the fucking Saturn cube, that give the legitimate conspiracy theories a bad name. If you tell the average person that you're a conspiracy theorist, they will immediately assume that you're some fucking crazy flat earther or some unhinged anti-Semite because of the stigma around those types of conspiracy theories setting the trend for conspiracy theories in general, when really the conspiracy you believe is completely reasonable and is not fueled on hatred or anything like that. There's levels to this shit, as this image points out. So at the end of the day, conspiracy theories are a very fun thing to look into, but much like everything in life, it's best done in moderation. No matter how valid or how insane your conspiracy theory is, it's not healthy to dedicate your life to it. Like, I get it. I like myself a good mystery and a good conspiracy every now and again. You know, it's fun to look into a theory for a few hours and then walk away looking at the world differently. But I could not fucking fathom doing this shit every single day of my life. It's absolutely insane. However, if there's one thing that I want you guys to take away from this video, it's that cartoon theories and Shane Dawson videos aren't fucking conspiracy theories. Shitty fanfiction about the Rugrats being a figment of Angelica's imagination is not a conspiracy theory. Chuck E. Cheese Frankensteining fucking pizzas together is not a conspiracy theory. Celebrities being clones or some shit is not a conspiracy theory. This is some normie pop conspiracy bullshit. Fuck this garbage. Sorry boys, Daddy got a little heated there. He had to calm down for a fucking sec. I'm not actually mad, by the way. It's all a fucking meme. But that's gonna do it for this video, guys. It was certainly fun looking into and making fun of some of these conspiracy theories. If you also thought this was fun, then please drop a like on this video, subscribe to this channel for more videos like this one, and comment down below telling me what you think. You know, what's a conspiracy theory that you unironically believe, and what's the craziest one that you've seen that I didn't talk about in this video? I would genuinely love to hear it. But with all that said, I've been MattCMG. I'll see y'all next time. Thanks for watching. Happy Halloweener, my friends. Alien. What the fuck is that sound? Yo, what the fuck is that? I heard fucking laughing. Dude, I'm shitting my pants right now. What the? I'm not fucking kidding. I just heard fucking laughing. It might have been two squirrels fighting outside, but what the fuck? That scared the shit out of me. I am actually fucking shitting myself right now. Holy fuck. What the hell? What? I genuinely fucking heard fucking giggling. What the fuck? Where was I? However, there it is again. You fucker. You goddamn motherfucker. Dude, I'm shitting my pants. I'm shitting my pants right now. What?